Oh, look at that jet stream.
Weather. Oh, boy.
Yep, they're calling it an atmospheric river.
It is coming down.
Oh, flood warning Louisiana.
Are they obsessed? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you bet we're obsessed with the weather here at Cold Rain's Weather World. And yes, the rumors are true. The atmospheric river is back. I'll show you exactly where it's pointed. We'll take a look at the level 3 severe weather risk that's out there for today, as well as the heat wave that is just over the horizon. So if you're obsessed with the weather too, then you are in the right place. This is Cold Rain's Weather World, and it starts right now. Happy Friday, folks, and welcome into another exciting edition of Cold Rain's Weather World, the fastest growing new weather show on the internet, where we've got all the weather, and I mean all the weather: severe storms, rain, tornadoes, hail, wind, sunshine, clouds, drought, heat waves, cold snaps, and even hurricanes. We've got it all. You want volcanoes? We've got that too. Earthquakes? No problem. Solar? You bet. We've got everything. We've got you covered, including spaceships falling to Earth. You heard that right, folks. We're going to talk about it all today, and we're going to make you smarter than when you came into the show. That's a promise I always make. And today, we're going to start with our daily weather IQ question. That is one of the ways that we leave you smarter than when you came in. And today's question is about your star, the sun. So how much do you know about the sun? Well, we're about to find out with today's weather IQ question. It is, what type of star is the sun classified as? A red giant, a white dwarf, a main sequence, or a quantum singularity? If you know the answer, type it right into the comment section. If you don't know it, then stick around to the end of the show, and I will tell you exactly what type of star the sun is. Well, happy Friday, everybody. I hope you have had or are having a nice Friday, and I hope you've had a nice work week and that everything's going well for you. I'm glad you're here with me today. We've got quite a bit of weather to talk about. Mother's Day weekend is upon us. We're going to look at your Mother's Day weekend forecast. We're going to take a look at that atmospheric river and see who's going to see the most rain. We're going to look at the heat wave that's coming up. And something interesting is falling from the sky over the weekend. That's not rain, it's not hail, and it's not snow. What is it? Well, stay tuned. I will show you everything that you need to know about that. In the meantime, we've got to get right into the weather to talk about what's going on out there today. Yesterday was an active day. It was an active day across the Tennessee Valley area into the Carolinas, down into the southeast, also in southern Texas. And that system that brought those thunderstorms and hail reports down to southern Texas is swinging through the Gulf, bringing rain to Louisiana right now and into Mississippi as well. That trough that was responsible for that severe weather outbreak yesterday in the Tennessee Valley is now pushing to the northeast. It has sparked an area of low pressure that is bringing rain into portions of the upper mid-Atlantic into New England, and a cluster of clouds and showers is moving off toward the eastern sections of North Carolina. We've got a little wispy clouds up here in the upper plains with some light rain falling there, and then some high clouds moving into the Pacific Northwest. You can see on the radar, not much activity here right now. We've got some showers up through North Dakota, Minnesota. Down here is where the action is, around just east of Houston, Galveston, places like that, Shreveport, Baton Rouge, New Orleans. You all are seeing some rain and heavy at times working into Gulfport. And then over in the northeast, we're looking at rain from Scranton to Allentown, New York City, Ithaca, Utica, up into probably Burlington and places like that. And so the Northeast, you guys are under the gun for the next 24 to 36 hours with rain. And you can see as we put this into motion, just moving along east, kind of an easterly fashion here, we've got showers in Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, and Ocracoke, and places like that along the North Carolina coast. So we're going to see this rain continue to push east as the day moves along. Looking at high temperatures, very warm across much of the country, 80s in the northern plains, and that's just going to get even warmer as we go through the weekend and early next week. Same in the southwest, where we've got hundreds showing up in Arizona and California. That's going to build as well. The southeast is a little bit of a different story. Warm today, but it's going to cool off just a bit as we get that upper low to sort of sit and cut off. And then in the northeast, 40s and 50s under the influence of clouds and precipitation up there. Hazards map showing a few things here. We've got some fog in Tennessee around Chattanooga, Nashville, and then upper sections of Alabama as well. That'll burn off as the day goes on. Frost advisory is what I'm trying to say. Here in eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania down into the West Virginia mountains for temperatures sinking into the low 30s, and flash flood watches are up for all of that rain expected in New England. So stay alert up there if you're traveling up into the New England area. Our surface map shows little low pressure developing that will continue to develop and move up the East Coast, bringing rain for the next 24 or so hours to New England and the northern sections of the Northeast. Low pressure along a little wave along that front as well in North Carolina. That'll help kick off some thunderstorms later in the northern sections of the Outer Banks into southeastern Virginia. Could be severe, and then a trough through Florida. Instability will be increasing. We'll see severe weather potentially on the east coast of Florida, frontal zone extending back through portion of the upper Gulf Coast, and then high pressure through the middle of the country. We've got another little system out here in the Rockies bringing some chance of some showers, thunderstorms, even snow in the higher elevations out here as well. We saw quite a few storm reports yesterday, 282 to be exact so far. Biggest winner for hail was in Wayne, Kentucky, where we saw 2.75-inch hail. That's around baseball size. That's pretty big. A lot of wind and hail reports all throughout this area here. A couple of tornado reports, western Kentucky and here in eastern Georgia as well. Hail reports down in Texas. Hillgado, Texas winds with 3-inch hail down there. So lots of severe weather yesterday. We're going to see much less in the way of severe weather today as we go through the afternoon. In fact, eastern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia, that's where we can expect to see the best overlapping of instability and shear. That's going to maximize through the heating of the day, and then it's going to diminish as evening rolls around. Same in Florida, little less shear, a little more instability down here, so we could see some storms pop up. Small chance of a tornado along the Gulf Coast where there's some directional change with height. Same again in the east coast of Florida. Wind, we're looking at being the primary threat, and hail primary threat up here in this area in the northern Outer Banks and Tidewater of Virginia. But yeah, wind could be a threat down here in Florida as well. So that's your severe weather threat for today. As we look at the Cape this afternoon, just to give you an idea of what to expect from an instability standpoint, here in the morning, we don't have a lot going on out there, a little bit more over Florida. That'll build through the afternoon. You kind of see that down here on the east coast of Florida. That's what special, I get all my ABCs all mixed up here. So SPC, Storm Prediction Center, is the one that issues severe weather outlooks. Remember that. And that's what's going on down here. We're seeing Cape build here. We've got a little bit of Cape up here. Thunderstorm fuel, remember what that is, of course. That's how we talk about Cape. It's thunderstorm fuel, and that is building over the eastern sections of North Carolina through the evening. And of course, as those thunderstorms take place and nocturnal cooling takes hold as we get on into the later evening hours, that Cape will diminish, and it does so, and you can see that reflected here. We still could see some shower and thunderstorm activity over Florida at any time, but the severe weather threat should wane as we get on out into the evening hours. Tomorrow, not a ton of severe weather threats out there, just potentially over western Montana and again over Florida, where we could see greater instability. Up in Montana, lesser instability, a little bit more wind shear. There's a trough that's going to be trying to work into the west coast. That's going to bring some upper level and mid-level wind shear to the area. So some of those storms could organize into clusters and produce a little bit of wind damage up there. And as we move it out into Sunday, that moves east a little bit to get into the Dakotas, eastern Montana, same kind of story. And then an upper low is going to cut off. We're going to look at that in a minute. That's going to be a big weather maker for the southeast and produce several hazards. One of those potentially severe weather and tornadoes. Although the tornado threat's not going to be a big tornado outbreak, but as the low sort of cuts off and strengthens, we'll see turning of winds with height, a little bit of wind shear. May even see some of this area upgraded to a level 3 or a slight risk as we go on through the afternoon. At level 2, I should say. I'm sorry, I said level 3. I meant to say level 2. Level 2 is a slight risk, and so that's what we're looking at through the course of the afternoon on Sunday as well. So that's your severe weather threat, folks. Now, before we get on with the rest of the show and take a look at your Mother's Day weekend outlook, I found an interesting historical tidbit about Mother's Day. In the interest of fulfilling my promise to you about making you smarter, I wanted to share it with you so that you could share it with other people if you want to. But this is interesting. I saw this today on May the 9th. 1914, President Woodrow Wilson signed a proclamation designating the second Sunday of May as Mother's Day. The official recognition encouraged Americans to honor mothers by displaying the U.S. flag and participating in various commemorative activities. Today, what we do is go buy a $14,000 Hallmark card and a bouquet of flowers and something else. That's sort of the tradition for Mother's Day today. But anyway, I hope you spend time honoring somebody special in your life, whether it's your mother or if you don't have a mother, or somebody, if you don't have a mother, then somebody else, of course. But this is a good weekend to appreciate those in your life that mean a lot to you, particularly your mothers. And so that's what we've got going on today in history. All right, so your Mother's Day forecast, we've got two areas that we're going to concentrate on because really those are the only two that have active weather. Most of the country is going to be fairly nice for Mother's Day. New England, what are we looking at? So this afternoon into the evening hours, we're seeing rain and plenty of it across much of New England, a low pressure moving up through there. And so we're going to see that rain continue to build through Saturday, through the overnight hours into Saturday morning, but it's going to be moving to the north and to the east. So by the time we wake up Saturday morning, most of New York, with the exception of eastern sections, and everybody south and east of there or west of there should be high and dry. And northern New England, you guys are going to see rain work in through the course of the day. Overnight, Saturday night, it's going to all continue to pull off to the north and to the east, leaving Maine with rain Saturday night. By the time we get into the wee hours of Sunday morning into around daybreak, look here, clear as a bell. Clouds will be moving out. Temperatures will be chilly, 40s and 50s for highs, but you're going to have a nice sunny day for your Mother's Day activities if you have any plan. Unfortunately, the Southeast, where 24 hours ago it looked like we might, at least the northern sections, might stay out of the rain for Mother's Day, it looks like that may not be the case now. So if we just push this on ahead through Saturday, this is overnight into the wee hours of tonight, early Saturday morning, we're seeing low pressure organized and starting to spread showers up into the southeast. And we're looking at all of that rain just continuing to move north through the evening on Saturday into the overnight hours. And as we approach daybreak Sunday, look here, North Carolina, rain at the doorstep, moving into the mountains, rain moving into the Tennessee Valley. And so we will see plenty of rain through the course of the day on Sunday, unfortunately, for much of the Southeast. So could be a washout Saturday afternoon. If you want to be optimistic, the GFS doesn't like rain that far north. Unfortunately, the GFS doesn't like good scores either, since it routinely has the lowest scores in its class, dragging everybody else down. Well, so we'll go with the Euro, which has the best scores and is the head of the class. And my phone keeps beeping, so I'm going to throw it away. All right, so that is your weekend forecast. Looking at high temperatures over the course of the next several days, we can see that heat build, 80s and 90s already into the northern plains on Saturday, desert Southwest, hundreds, very warm over much of the country, 70s, a little bit less heat in the southeast because of that upper lows moving in. Florida, South Texas, you're warm down there, 40s and 50s for the high on Saturday. As we get on out into Sunday, 50s and 60s up in New England, so it's actually a little bit warmer than I said earlier up there. 90s building over the plains, hundreds in the desert Southwest, warm in South Texas, warm in Florida, 80s, potentially upper 70s, mid 70s, upper 70s somewhere in the southeast under the influence of that upper low. Here, let's go back and look at the rest of the temperatures before we advance. The heat building into the plains, cooling off in the west as that trough works in, and still under the influence of that upper low in the southeast, so not quite as warm as we'll eventually be over the course of the next week or so. But that heat will continue to build in the plains as we get on out into Wednesday, out into Thursday. Look at this, that upper low finally pulls out. Heat is building everywhere along the east coast, cooling off in the west as we see that trough finally work in, possibly bringing a severe weather threat. But that's your temperature outlook and heat wave outlook. Looking at the bigger threat, which is flooding, There is a slight risk down in Georgia, parts of Florida, the Panhandle on Sunday, and then on Monday, a slight risk of excessive rainfall that extends up into all of South Carolina, much of North Carolina, under the influence of that upper low. And you can see that here on this mid-level height map. I like to show this because this tells you where the ridges and the upper lows are. Those are the things that influence your weather down at the surface. And so as we take a look Saturday and move this on into Sunday, look at that ridge build just right over the northern plains in the Midwest. It traps this upper low and it doesn't allow it to move out. Got an upper low here in just eastern Canada, another one working into the west coast. Look at this as we get on in, upper low, upper low, upper low, upper low. All this blocking up here slows the pattern down and it helps to cut off these systems. And this system is just going to sit over the southeast. A new one's going to work into the west coast. This is Monday morning. Now we get into Tuesday. Finally, Tuesday into Wednesday, we start to see that thing lift out, bring some rain up into the northeast. But not until later on in the day, Wednesday, do we see the pattern finally shuffle around. What does that mean? That means plenty of moisture just funneled into the southeast, an atmospheric river. That's what I mean when I say that. Look at this. You've got this big plume of moisture coming straight out of the Gulf, right? And so you got this low sitting back over Louisiana like this. And as we, I just erased it, but just remember that I drew it there. And then we just put this into motion. By the way, this is the precipitable water anomaly map. This shows you where the highest moisture content in the atmosphere is relative to normal. So these reds are higher than normal content, blues are lower than normal. So you would probably not see much rain or clouds where it's blue. But where it's red, you're going to see plenty of clouds, plenty of rain. We put this out into motion. This is for Saturday afternoon. Look at that. That moisture plume just stays in place, directed directly at the southeast. And Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Monday morning, Monday afternoon. So 48 hours at least, probably more than that, of just an atmospheric river directed into the southeast. And it finally, that low finally starts to move to the Ohio Valley, taking a lot of that moisture with it. There'll be some residual wraparound moisture behind it. So probably see some clouds, maybe a shower or two as that pulls away through the day on Wednesday. European ensemble is generally in agreement with this. This is the operational model. It just shows you a footprint of where the heaviest rainfall is going to be. We may end up seeing more than this in spots. The Weather Prediction Center has spots from 3 to 6, 7, 8 inches of rain. So certainly some spots are going to pick up more than this. But one of the things you need to pay attention to on the east side of the mountains here, when you have a southerly or southeasterly flow, it sort of rides up over the terrain and you get higher moisture, higher rainfall rates and more rain. It's sort of enhanced along the slopes of the Alps. So pay attention in the foothills and into the mountains here for pretty heavy rain. We're going to see rain across much of the southeast as well. There is the GFS. See, it's showing a little bit less in the way of rainfall amounts, but we'll go with the ensembles. Here's the ensemble mean, and it looks pretty good for 3 to 4 to 6 inches of rain in spots. And that's what we're going to be looking at over the course of the next several days, looking at how that all plays out in terms of the big picture. Low in the northeast moving out, low in the southeast just kind of sitting there, bringing plenty of rain into the southeast, trough coming in here into the west coast as we get on out into Monday. Finally, that low is lifting out. You see in the afternoon, you get heating, you get a little more instability because the upper low is cooler up there. And so it helps to fire off showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Watch what happens as we get into Wednesday afternoon. Look at that. See, showers pop back out here. Trough moving into the west will bring showers and unsettled weather out there, and eventually maybe a threat of severe weather as well into the Midwest. And so that's what we've got going on, folks. Your 6 to 10 day forecast from the 14th to the 18th, much above normal for the east and below normal for the west with that trough. Hawaii near normal, or this is Alaska, folks. Alaska near normal, Hawaii above normal. And then looking at the precipitation anomalies, much of the country is actually shown to be above normal, which is not out of the question with those troughs coming into the west and the upper low to the east. Below normal, North Alaska, near normal, Center Alaska, and above normal, Southern Alaska, and above normal in Hawaii. So that's what we've got there. Volcanic activity still the same for areas we've been watching. No real new earthquake activity, just some small earthquakes continuing in Southern California. I don't think many people are experiencing effects of those, but they're very small, so you may feel a little bit of a shake or two. The sun got a coronal hole facing Earth. That means solar winds potentially. So we'll be watching for geomagnetic activity. Not much predicted with aurora right now, so we're not going to look at that for too long. But we have something interesting falling from the sky. Scientists have been tracking an object with a decaying orbit that is set to strike the planet sometime before midnight Saturday. Although the location is unclear, the United States is a potential strike point. So, what is it? Well, it's not a spaceship from another planet, just another time. 53 years ago, Cosmos 483 was launched by the Soviet Union with the intent of landing on Venus. Unfortunately, the mission failed and it's been in a decaying orbit for a while and is now set to strike Earth, a sad reminder of a time when two powerful nations challenged each other and then boldly rushed into outer space. What will be the next thing that challenges us? Well, I hope it's not today's Weather IQ question. The question was, if you remember it, it was what type of star is the sun classified as? And man, that is a poorly written sentence there, or question. I will do better next time. Is it a red giant, a white dwarf, a main sequence, or a quantum singularity? Well, it's not a red giant, because if it were, we would all be dead. It's not a white dwarf, and it's not a quantum singularity that you might find in the center of a black hole, because we would also all be dead. So that leaves main sequence. If you guessed that, you got it right. And now you know about stars. Now you know about objects falling from the sky, Mother's Day, and several other things, I hope. So anyway, I hope it's been a good show for you. It's been a good show for me, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a nice, safe Mother's Day weekend if you're traveling somewhere. So take care, everybody. Have a great day.